I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Elon.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. We've got a great show for y'all today. We're gonna have some fun. Yes, we're gonna talk about Elon Musk paying people to watch him poop. No, I don't think it's a fetish thing. Nonetheless, hilarious story. And by the way, no judgment. No judgment. Everybody's got their thing. All right, so we have that. Also, Musk versus a disabled worker. Who's going to win? We also have Tucker Carlson. We're going to talk about that, including the Republicans that are not happy with the whitewashing of the J6 surveillance video by Carlson. That's an interesting story. We have Kansas Republicans flipping out over rainbows. I'm not kidding. Rainbows.
We have to keep our country gay.
And then also, we're going to have a fun video here of a Teamster taking on a Republican senator in a hearing. You're going to love that video. I love it. Then we're going to give you some facts about why unions good. Yeah. So that's what we do here. We bring facts. Facts to help workers. So if you're a worker, which of course pretty much all of you are, unless you're like retired or something, rich people do not watch this show. This is not a show for wealthy people. Okay? This is not a show for Wall Street investors. I do not speak to the donor class, unless it is, of course, to tell them to shove it. You know.
Pink-haired communist.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Except I don't have any hair. All right, so anyway, fun for all. Please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Helps us out as usual. With that, why don't we dive into the stories? Because it's going to be fun. So let's start out with Elon Musk, Space Karen. Oh my God. But if you would have hair, of course, it would be pink. Yes, it would be either pink or blue, because, you know, that's the way all of us are. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. New details about the sad life of Elon Musk since acquiring Twitter have come out, and they're crappy. Literally. Now, this is according to an unnamed Twitter engineer who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he fears getting fired because pretty much everybody gets fired if you say anything at all to Elon Musk that he does not like. Fired! Fired! Literally, Elon Musk right there. if you do anything. Even if you tell him, hey, maybe you ought to scale back your annex on Twitter and actually do the job and make the company better. No, fired, get out of here.
You're fired.
Yeah, so that's what he does. So anyway, according to this unnamed engineer, Space Karen, Elon Musk, is, well, he's paranoid. He's got some issues, right? Apparently, he gets followed around the clock at Twitter HQ, which is where he lives now, by the way. Like, this weirdo literally lives in the corporate offices of Twitter. How weird and sad. These bodyguards are tasked with following him all around the building and even into the bathroom to watch him poo. To make sure that, of course, nobody attacks him while he's sitting on the throne. Isn't that amazing? What is going on here? What?
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Wow. Now, that engineer said he thought that Musk's use of the bodyguards inside of Twitter's HQ in San Francisco suggests a lack of trust in the company's employees. I mean, it's either that or...
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times.
And he just needs to help with the plunging? Who knows what's going on? I don't know. I'm not in the building. Weird. It's very weird. Now, look. Here's the thing. Serious point. Does he not trust the employees? Well, yeah. I mean, that's because he is, since acquiring Twitter, he's gone on a reign of terror, basically. Firing pretty much everyone who knows what they're doing. Forcing people, of course, back into the office. When it's not necessary to do their job, they can do it by remote work. He's also taken away benefits like free food, free lunches, which, hey, are nice. Back when I was working at an actual place and not for myself, it would have been nice to have free lunches. Yeah, I never had that. And then also, as I mentioned before, he literally moved into Twitter headquarters and went full goblin mode. But maybe actually is a literal goblin now. When's the last time Elon Musk saw the sun emerged from the building? We don't know. We don't know. Obviously, the man has a few, let's say, issues. At least in my non-professional opinion, he's got some issues. Mainly, I think, divorced dad energy, major divorced dad energy. And by the way, the way that he's dealing with this, and we've all seen this, the complete meltdown. Basically, he's been the edgelord tech 4chan memes guy. I am the edgelord of Kekistan. By the way, even though he caters to all the right wingers on Twitter, they still hate him. That cat turd still hates him. Now, look, when it comes to bodyguards, obviously a lot of CEOs, a lot of wealthy people, of course they have bodyguards. They spend money on safety, of course. But it seems like the paranoia here, having them following him into the bathrooms, like, that's bizarre. Like, are you afraid a disgruntled Twitter employee is going to murder you in the toilet? Is that what you think is going to go on? Wait, aren't you the same person who at least aligns themselves with the people who think that all the Twitter employees were blue-haired, soy-drinking, they-them femboys? Or,
pink-haired communists.
Honestly, like, what are you so scared of? It's amazing. Now, that engineer, again, also said the bodyguards were bulky and tall. And they look like they're from a Hollywood movie. Well, all right, sure. But here's the thing. Elon Musk, if he's not going through something, for one, I think he is. Again, my personal, non-professional opinion, all right? I think he's going through something. But I think that, if he manages to come out of it, then the thing that he would need to worry about more than being shanked on the toilet is being sued. That's a much more realistic possibility. With that, we'll go to why I say. Ooh, okay. On Monday, Space Karen, that's CEO of Twitter, Elon Musk, basically put his foot in his mouth. That's to put it nicely. He made some errors. What are those errors? Well, he decided to mock a disabled employee and then fired him. Oops. Afterwards, of course, and I'll get the details on this, he had to backpedal, likely after the lawyers were like, what are you doing, dude? You are so going to get sued. All right, so according to reports from Insider, TechCrunch, Daily Beast, numerous other outlets, and the employee who was mocked and fired from Twitter is named Haraldur Halli Thorleifsson. By the way, love the name. So obviously he works, he's from Iceland. He works in Iceland. He's a remote worker. And I'll give you his story a little bit later because it is pretty fascinating. But let's just go step by step here and kind of break down what happened. Give you a little timeline here, okay? And now, Thorleifsson is the founder of a startup called Ueno. I may have butchered that name. I apologize. But basically, it's a creative design company. So that's his company. Now, he decided to sell it to Twitter in early of 2021. Now, that effectively made him an employee of Twitter because it's, again, his company. Now, he founded the firm in Reykjavik in 2014. And so he'd been doing work for Twitter. And again, I'll get into the work because that's relevant to the story. But basically, lately he'd been trying to get into his work accounts and he hadn't been able to. So obviously, if you're working for a company, a tech company, and you're contracted to work for this tech company, it would be important for you to be able to actually get into things. Now, Twitter has been messed up, effed up for some time. People logging in randomly and getting messages like, oh, this API is no longer supported, and unable to do some of the basic stuff. I've been having a hard time getting video clips off of Twitter because of their outages. I mean, this thing's a wreck. It's a mess. It's a disaster. Sad. And that's, again, thanks to Elon Musk and literally firing pretty much everybody who knows what they're doing. Okay, so now this guy tries to log in. He couldn't. He tried repeatedly, and after a couple of days, he's like, all right, look, I got work I got to do. Fine, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to email, the HR person. I'm going to email everybody with this problem as what the heck is going on. I'm even going to reach out to Elon. And what happened? Well, Elon Musk did not answer his emails at all. 9 days of no response from Elon Musk or HR. He decides, well, the best way, I guess, to reach Elon Musk is to go on Twitter and tweet about it. So he asked publicly, hey, look, I got this issue. Do I even still have a job? Am I even an employee? I can't access anything. His tweet said, maybe if enough people will retweet, you'll answer me here. Because apparently that is the only way to get Elon Musk's attention is to get enough likes and retweets. That is not a way to run this company. Not a way to run a company at all. Wow. It's, again, disaster. All right. So now Musk ends up seeing it because it got enough likes and retweets. And he says, what work have you been doing? Heralder, Thorleifson, again, call him Holly or Hallie. He responded with, I would need to break confidentiality to answer this question here. So again, that's a professional response. Like, do I have permission in writing for me to talk about this? Because again, this is the nature of the work that I've been doing. And Elon Musk, probably without checking with anyone else, was like, oh yeah, it's approved. Go ahead. Idiot. He explained, Thorleifson did, that he was a contract worker working on something called Figma, or using Figma in order to do some, and I'll explain what that is, okay? So he also noted that as a result of his work, he had saved Twitter $500,000 on a software as a service contract. To which Elon Musk was like, no, I doubt it. Pixar didn't happen. Really? That's your response? Pixar, it didn't happen. Oh, it gets worse, of course. After responding that he had used Figma, which is, again, a program here, and I'll get into the details, Musk replied with laughing emojis, and maybe it's because he thought that this guy was trolling him. Now, older viewers, you might not understand what I'm about to get into, so I'm gonna get into it, okay? Figma sounds a lot like some things the kids are saying these days. You know, the kids. Sounds like Ligma. Ligma, what's Ligma? Ligma balls. That's what that is. No, seriously.
Testicles.
That's what the kids are saying. And look, hey, you might remember something similar if you are old enough to have watched the Colbert Report. You may remember something along those same lines. Sukma Deek. Yeah. All right. So anyway, I know it's weird that I have to go and make a primer on Ligma and Sugma, right? It's my job. And I can't pretend that I don't love my job. I do. I really do.
Tallywhacker.
Okay. But anyway, Figma, not any of those things. Figma is a real thing. It's a web design tool that is used to help create websites, applications, logos, and other things. So this guy, Thorleifson, uses Figma to make all sorts of things that would be beneficial to Twitter. You know, and it'd be, by the way, be beneficial to any social media company. Now, if you weren't a moron who was supposed to know about this stuff, right? Like Elon Musk claims to be a super genius, smartest person in the world, knows everything about technology, super genius. He doesn't know what Figma is. Now, you and I, regular people, we don't know what Figma is. We don't work with it. But if you do that kind of work, you of course would be familiar with it. It's a very popular program. So, but Elon Musk knows absolutely nothing about technology, even though he claims to know everything about technology. So, that said, following the exchange, Thorleifson finds out that he is indeed no longer working at Twitter. Apparently, the HR person magically, in the middle of that exchange, got back to him and said, oh, yeah, you're no longer working there. Oh, okay, yes. And then, that's not the last of it. Musk then posts this. The reality is that this guy, who is independently wealthy, did no actual work. Claimed as his excuse that he has a disability that prevents him from typing, yet was simultaneously tweeting up a storm. Can't say I have a lot of respect for that. But was he fired? No. You can't be fired if you weren't working in the first place. I mean, so that's him saying, I don't believe that you actually have a disability. Oh, not at all. On a scale of course, 1 to reprehensible, this is absolutely astronomically off the charts. Like, holy, you have to understand, Elon Musk's lawyers were probably out there screaming, no. It's Darth Vader's scream at the end of Revenge of the Sith. This guy's a mess, a landmine of, potential violations and lawsuits. So now this guy, Thorleifson, does have a disability. He has muscular dystrophy. And so he is unable to use a mouse or type for extended periods of time. So he can for short periods of time. That's why he's able to tweet. But even if he wasn't, there are things called text-to-speech programs, which, again, if you were a super genius like Elon Musk, you would understand those things exist and help people to work all the time. Those are also considered to be disability accommodations. Plus, the guy also lives in Iceland. So, there's that. So I guess if he was expecting him to return to the office or something like that, not something that you would expect him to have to do. So now another thing to know is how awesome this Thorleifson guy is, despite his name. Or I should say in addition to his name, because I think his name's awesome. I don't know why I said despite, but he led a charitable effort to build 1,000 ramps around Reykjavik for disabled people. So, and he was actually honored by the UN for that. Hey, that's kind of cool. Building accessibility ramps and using, what resources you have to do something positive in the world. Great. I love it. Wonderful. Now, Elon Musk, again, firing someone who was disabled and then claiming that he couldn't accommodate him because he thinks his disability is fake. Well, that could be grounds for some lawsuits, don't you think? In fact, in a tweet commenting on Musk's situation, Joshua Ehrlich, an employment and civil rights attorney based in Virginia, wrote this, quote, "Lord grant me defendants this dumb." Oh, yeah. In a tweet comment, I'm sorry, I read that. He continued by saying, Musk's "the reality is" tweet reads like he looked up this employee's human resources file and is tweeting out the company's internal reasoning for the termination. That reasoning seems pretty problematic, and it would be more than enough to carry a disability discrimination or failure to accommodate case deep into litigation. Which means, oops, lawsuit. And a possibly pretty expensive one. So now the question, of course, is, since he is located in Iceland, who would get the jurisdiction in such a lawsuit, or where would it be filed? What laws would apply, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows? I don't know if he's going to pursue it. Certainly there does seem to be some grounds for it, which is likely why Musk later on had a change of heart. This is after speaking with Thorleifson on a video call. Here's the hat-in-hand apology. Quote, "I would like to apologize to Holly for my misunderstanding of his situation. It was based on things I was told that were untrue, or in some cases true, but not meaningful. He is considering remaining at Twitter." Oh, yeah, I was told things that were wrong. Oh, is that what happened? Who told you these things? Elon? Who told you? Who told you?
Elon!
I would like to know. Probably one of his right-wing followers that he listens to. The 3 a.m. cat turd call. Oh, my God. Look, Elon Musk has got some serious issues, okay? He needs to log off. He's an embarrassment. He's driving the company into the ground. And seems to be doing so at an ever increasing pace. Just diving that thing into the ground. Amazing. Now, that said, a lawsuit by Thorleifson might help the, acceleration, but I don't know if he'll sue. right now, it seems like the only thing that he wants for himself is to have Musk honor his contract, the contract that he signed with Twitter in 2021, and to pay him for the work that he has done for the company. Look, he explains that this job, this is my retirement. Okay. It's my retirement fund so that I can build up enough wealth to take care of myself, my family, when my disease progresses to the point of where I am no longer able to work at all. And so, again, we don't know what's going to happen. I'll have to keep an eye on it. And certainly, Musk is probably going to try to have to be a little bit more careful in the future to not, do this kind of thing and stick his foot in his mouth. Might be difficult to do, but he needs to show a little bit of constraint and maybe, I don't know, log off. Might help. Okay. So let's go from Musk to Tucker Carlson. Speaking of that, Ravaging Wolverine in the Twitch chat says Leon's helping Tucker's propaganda this week. Ah, yes, we're about to talk a little bit about that, including the Republican response. All right. Oh, I hope he sues and uses the money for another accessibility charity in Iceland. Hell yeah. Based. Okay. The real Tucker Carlson continues to be exposed through his own text messages. Now, following last month's court filing where Carlson had, again, been shown in text messages to his producer on the day of January 6th about Trump being a demonic force and a destroyer. Yes, that's right. That's what Tucker Carlson said of Donald Trump.
It's the devil, okay?
He's the devil. He's a demonic force and a destroyer. And that, if we don't play this right, he's going to destroy us. Us meaning, of course, Fox News. Now, we have even more of his personal, real thoughts on Donald Trump, again, expressed through text messages. This, according to legal documents, released as part of the $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit filed against Fox News by Dominion Voting Systems, who, by the way, it seems like they've got a pretty damn good case, and they keep coming out with even more of these document releases. So it's not just them trying to, I think, win the case in this point, or at this point. I think really they're just trying to rub the salt on the wound. That's what's happening here. I love it. All right, so Schadenfreude aside, it just shows you how good of a case they have. All right, so these text messages from Tucker to an unnamed recipient showed that he was pretty fed up with Donald Trump. Quote, this is on January 4th, 2021, to an unnamed recipient. We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. Can't wait. But wait, he also added, I hate him passionately. Look, hey, that's apparently how he felt then, and likely how he feels now. Let's be honest about that. Look, this really shows you how the elites, the Republican elites, how they really feel about Donald Trump. And yes, Tucker Carlson is absolutely one of the elites. He's an heir to the Swanson fortune, and he's incredibly wealthy. He has only taken this fake populist path because, well, that's what some of the viewers want. So now, again, by talking about Trump in this way, he's also, by extension, talking about the people who like and follow Trump. And so, MAGA guys, if you were watching this, know that this is who Tucker Carlson is. This is the real face of Tucker Carlson. He lies to you, lies to your face, and then behind the scenes despises you and the people that you choose to be in power. Which again, overwhelmingly, the Republican Party chose Donald Trump, the Republican electorate, over the concerns of the actual party. Yeah. And so look, another thing that Tucker Carlson does, and you know it, he manipulates you into being enraged so that you will continue to watch him. When you watch him, the more you watch him, the more people watch him, the more money he makes. The more his contract goes up. He does everything he can to prevent you from seeing facts that counter the narrative that he is trying to push. Remember, there are no liberal facts. There's no conservative facts. There are just facts. And as Ben Shapiro says, they don't care about your feelings. They just don't care. And Tucker Carlson does not have the facts. He wants to hide the facts. Tucker Carlson and Hannity got together to try to get reporter Jackie Heinrich fired for tweeting out a fact. What is that fact? She said that top election infrastructure officials confirmed that there is no evidence of that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised in the 2020 election. Carlson's response was, get her fired. He texted Hannity saying, please get her fired. Seriously, what the F? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately. Like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. Not a joke. So understand, this is what he was worried about. This was his concern. Please have our people, our reporters, stop giving our viewers facts. Because if we give them facts, that's going to hurt our stock price. They're going to run to Newsmax. They all feared Carlson, Hannity, Murdoch. They were all afraid that you, the loyal MAGA viewer, would run off to Newsmax because they made the decision. They made the calculation that you were not interested in the truth, that you couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle the fact that Biden won the election. Mainly it's because you've been lied and propagandized to the whole election, the whole thing. You preferred to hear those sweet, sweet little lies that made you feel better, helped your feelings. And so that you would also, with your feelings and worldview intact, your bubble not broken, that you would continue to tune in to hear those sweet little lies be repeated to you over and over again. That's who these people are at Fox News. Ironically, again, Fox News always talks about lying media. The lying media. They're the lying media that they themselves warned you about. Truth hurts. Moving on to the response here. We've got Republicans not thrilled. Fox host Tucker Carlson is getting some pushback for showing selectively edited Capitol surveillance videos on his news show, intended to portray the January 6th riots as nothing more than a peaceful little walk in the Capitol. Nice little gathering, very, very friendly, all that stuff. Now, that pushback, interestingly enough, is coming from fellow Republicans in the Senate. So let me give you some quotes here. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina told reporters on Tuesday, when asked about Carlson's portrayal of the events as mostly peaceful, I think it's bullshit. Well, I mean, that's very, it's very clear.
Bullshit.
All right. So he continued by saying, when you see police officers assaulted, all of that, if you were just a tourist, you should have probably lined up at the visitor center and came on in an orderly fashion or basis. Sorry. Senator Mike Rounds also added, I was there on January 6th. I saw how violent it was. Senator Kevin Cramer said that January 6th was clearly more than a peaceful protest of some rowdy Boy Scouts. Clearly more. Senator Lindsey Graham, who, by the way, ironically, he loves to whitewash pretty much everything. But even he is not interested, he says, in whitewashing the events of January 6th. Okay. So, yeah. Now, Senator Mitt Romney, he had a little bit longer of a statement. He said, quote, "It's really sad to see Tucker Carlson go off the rails like that." Have you watched Tucker Carlson lately? He's always going off the rails. The American people saw what happened on January 6th. They've seen the people who got injured. They saw the damage to the building. You can't hide the truth by selectively picking a few minutes out of tapes. It's so absurd. It's nonsense. Well, look, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Tucker Carlson, understand, is a full-on propagandist. Tucker Carlson knows what he's doing. Tucker Carlson is lying to placate his audience. And look, we all know that Tucker Carlson is lying because guess what? He admitted it in filings and in depositions. He said that he never believed in the allegations. Never. He called them absurd and shockingly reckless. He also texted his producer, telling them that Donald Trump is a demonic force and a destroyer, and that he passionately hates Donald Trump and can't wait to no longer have to talk about him. And added that if they, Fox News, does not play this right, meaning with the audience, Trump will destroy them and their credibility, which will directly impact him and his multi-million-dollar paycheck, as well as the stock prices when it comes to Fox News. Make no mistake, this is what it's about. It's about money. It's always about money. Money. That's why he's lying about January 6th. That's why he's portraying it as a gentle tourist visit and a peaceful gathering. When in reality, federal prosecutors have charged nearly 1,000 people with crimes, including more than 300 for assault or interfering with police officers. Is that exactly gentle? Now, that said, yeah, of course, there's a lot of defendants that have only been charged with unlawfully entering or remaining in a federal building that were not violent. I'm not really concerned with those morons. Okay? No, what I'm concerned with the people who vandalized, attacked, and beat up Capitol police officers and tried to intimidate Congress into ignoring the results of a legitimate election. And that's ultimately what it was about. Carlson is downplaying the actions of those people, the people who had actually done violence, and running cover for them and whitewashing the entire event. And that's the reality of the situation. Truth hurts. Two more quotes from Republicans. Romney, again, getting back to Romney, he said, "Completely placating the base of my party is not the right way forward for the Republican Party or for the country. To me, it's time to move on from it." Kramer then added, "It really doesn't do anything to bolster that our party is forward-looking." So, well, understand, of course, I'm going to say that they're not, because they're not forward-looking. Forward back to the 1800s, perhaps, when it comes to policy and civil rights. But okay, I get what he means. These politicians, they know January 6th is a sore spot. They know that most Americans don't like what happened on January 6th. Don't like the incitement from the Trump mob, or, incitement from Trump to create the mob, the MAGA mob. All right. And so, look, they want to distance themselves. Let's get away from this whole thing, because it's hurting us. You're hurting us. You're hurting us, Tucker. You're hurting the party. Yeah, but Tucker's, stuffing his pockets, so it's totally fine for him. But look, Tucker doing this propaganda makes it very hard for the party to move on from this, especially in the public perception, which, again, the whole point of the Republican Party was not to serve Donald Trump. That's what he's made it into, because they're all weak betas. Okay. No, the whole purpose of the Republican Party was specifically to help businesses, corporations, cut taxes for rich people, deregulate industry, and to act as the propaganda arm of the Republican Party. In fact, you had messages from Rupert Murdoch, who said, look, let's not focus on Trump. Let's focus on, putting everything we have behind the Georgia elections. That's what's important here. Let's forget about the Trump and the election stuff, which, by the way, he'd also called very harmful. Not in those particular words, but that is the essence of his statement, and that it's dangerous, and should have pushed back harder against that. Again, that's his own statements. Okay. But look, I can't say that I feel sorry for the Republican Party. I don't. The leopards are coming for the face. Okay. That's it. Or you should say the zombies are coming for them. Or I should say the monster that they create. Okay, anyway, but let's enough of the analogies. But look, I don't feel sorry for them. But what needs to be considered, and this is my overall point, right, is once the monsters, leopards, or whatever are done with the Republican Party and have cannibalized it and have fully, completely turned it, the entire party, into essentially what is an extension of Trump's ego and fascism, then they're going to come for us next. We don't want that to happen. We might want to stop it now. Okay. Amazes me how many 80s sci-fi films were against media manipulation, and yet we had the elimination of the fairness doctrine, and of course all these media mergers and acquisitions and conglomerations that have been created, and very, very little antitrust action, because guess what? In the 80s, greed was good. And Ronald Reagan, deregulation, yay. And now we, of course, have to deal with the consequences of all of that. Yay. All right, let's see. Let's move on to, I think the Teamster story is next. Oh yeah. I love this story.
Don't tell me I'm out
You
of line.
are out of line.
Don't tell me I'm out of line.
Well, you frame,
don't tell me. I'm making a statement.
You
Sir,
frame the statement
you need to
like a
shut
tough
your
guy.
mouth,
Yeah.
because you don't know
You're
what
gonna
you're
tell me to
talking
shut my
about.
mouth?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Hold on. Yeah.
That was Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin having a testy exchange with the president of the Teamsters Union. On Wednesday, Teamsters General President Sean M. O'Brien testified at a hearing held by the U.S. Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions about putting a stop, essentially, to corporate union busting by companies like Starbucks, Amazon, and other multi-billion-dollar corporations who have decidedly not been sharing the immense wealth that they have with their workers. They've instead, and it's been shown, bought back their own stocks, boosting their own dividends, bonuses, executive compensation packages, while also spending on lobbyists and, yes, union busting firms. Because, we would rather spend money on these expensive firms than actually allow our employees to collectively bargain. Now, that said, Republican Senator Mullin decided he was going to ignore all of that, all of the anti-labor, and labor violations made by these companies when they're trying to unionize. And in fact, he's actually going to make things very personal against Sean M. O'Brien. And we'll start with this.
What do I bring?
Yeah, what job have you committed, or have you started? What job have you created? One job, other than sucking the paycheck out of somebody else that you want to say that you're trying to provide because you're forcing them to pay dues? And
No, we don't force them.
Senator, you've asked the
You're
question.
out of line.
Let him
man.
answer
Actually,
the
I
question.
haven't, and no, don't tell me I'm out.
You are out of line.
Don't tell me I'm out of line.
Well, you frame,
don't tell me. I'm making a
you
statement.
frame the statement.
You need to
like a
shut
tough
your
guy.
mouth
Yeah.
because you don't know
You're
what
gonna
you're
tell me to
talking
shut my
about.
mouth?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Yes,
Tough
yeah.
guy. I'm not
Senator,
afraid of physical.
Senator,
You don't have
hold
to,
it.
but don't sit there and tell me I'm out of line.
As far as my salary goes, my salary, if you follow me around, I actually look at this building. I bet you I work more hours than you do. Twice as many hours.
That's impossible. But
No, that's true.
Sir, you don't know what hard work is. If you want to follow my schedule,
Secondly, I'll do it in a
follow.
minute.
So, look, let me just say that I love how the Teamsters guy is not taking any crap from Mark Wayne Mullen. So, by the way, that question, how much are you sucking off from the worker's paycheck? Okay. Well, look, you could say that Mark Wayne Mullen is sucking something else off at that point, and that would be his corporate bosses. But look, that question, by the way, he admitted when Bernie Sanders was shutting him down and saying, hey, look, you asked a question, and he's going to answer the question. He's like, it wasn't a real question. It was just rhetorical. So you were basically just saying nonsense then. Okay. Sure. Now, you might wonder why he didn't want O'Brien to answer the question. Well, it may be, again, it's because Mullen was trying to make a ridiculous soundbite that he could use to give to his corporate donors and say, look, I said the thing. I said the thing. Aren't you happy? Please give me money and pats on the head, perhaps. Look, that's what these craven politicians do. Understand who they are. They bow down to the big corporations. They get on their hands and knees and beg for money for their, campaigns. And in return, they get the campaign donations. And then we'll crush labor, fight at unions, put out talking points that are not true. And so, look, and by the way, you've heard these talking points. Oh, the unions, they're just taking your money. They're getting fat off the money. No. That's Mark Wayne Mullen. He's taking your money and getting fat off it. His salary is paid for with taxpayer money. And guess what he does with it? Nothing for you and everything for the donors. Look, unions, by the way, unions do have issues. I'm the first one to say that, and I'm a pro-union guy. All right? Unions have issues. There are times where unions and we didn't see eye to eye on things like, for example, universal health care. There were union groups that were opposing Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign, as well as Medicare for All, because they were able to negotiate, health care packages and use that as a way to say, hey, look, we're providing that for you. I understand the reasoning, but denying Medicare for All, true universal health care to everyone because it's better for your union or recruitment, I don't know. I just don't like that reasoning. I think healthcare is a human right. That aside, unions are an incredibly positive, wonderful force that is necessary in this country. Okay? Now, in some countries, they're not necessary because you've had workers that are incredibly powerful and also do things like worker co-ops, for example, where they actually are the worker owners of these companies. That said, in America, we don't have anywhere near that system. We have an authoritarian top-down caste system, essentially. So you need to have workers that collectively bargain, that get together and fight for each other, fight for wages and benefits. And so, look, the fact is that when you're able to do that, when you do get together, you do get these better benefits. Union workers get paid way better than non-union workers. They have better benefits, again, because of the fact that they have this collective bargaining. And so how much better is that? Well, according to a report released last year by the Joint Economic Committee on Congress and the House Education and Labor Committee, workers represented by unions earned 10.2% higher wages than non-union peers. They have better benefits. And again, just having the union exist in the industry raises wages. It has an effect to raise all wages, whether you're union or not. But it's not just pay, as I mentioned before. Unionized workers are also 18.3% more likely to receive employer-sponsored health insurance. And employers actually pay 77.4% more per hour worked towards the cost of the health insurance for unionized workers compared with non-unionized workers. So with a country that right now does not have socialized health care, that's a way better deal. Way better deal. They also found that unionization correlates to pay and premiums of 17.3% higher for black workers. So, marginalized communities, smaller communities, and are benefiting greatly from unionization. 23.1% for Latino workers, 14.7% for Asian workers, compared to 10.1% for white workers. Now, you might think, wait a minute, why do white workers get less of that? You have to understand that white workers actually start out generally higher than everyone else and still receive a boost from unionization. Female workers, by the way, union workers, receive 4.7% higher hourly wages than non-union peers. But get this, in female-dominated service industries, union workers are paid 52.1% more than non-union workers. Wow. So obviously, very clear benefits to being a member of a union. And by the way, unions are not just for lefties. There are plenty of Republicans that are in unions. There are plenty who have joined strikes in places, for example, like John Deere, Warrior Met Coal, many other industries where your political affiliation doesn't matter. You can have, again, right-wingers working next to socialists. In a union, they're still working for each other to raise each other's wages. That's what being in a union is about. And so, collective bargaining is not a partisan thing. It is a worker versus employer issue. We all have to understand that. That's why, by the way, according to Gallup, at least 68% of Americans approve of labor unions, which is actually the highest level measured since 1965. At that time, 71% of the population approved of unions. And so lately we have seen a massive unionization push and acceptance because, look, at this point, unions are actually at one of the lowest levels of membership in a very, very long time. And again, that's thanks to union busting by corporations, politicians that have passed things like right-to-work laws, and of course, presidents like Ronald Reagan. And yes, let me include Biden in that, who also just broke a couple of months ago a rail strike. And as a result of that, the rail unions were not able to go on strike. One of the things that they were asking for is a switch to ECS brake systems, which was the cause, not having those ECS brake systems, as well as, increased safety checks, and more people that are actually working on these trains. All of that contributed to the recent derailments in places like East Palestine, Ohio, which, by the way, yesterday had another Norfolk Southern train derailment. Oops. Turns out when you do union busting, bad things happen. And that said, the Biden administration also gets credit for having an incredibly good NLRB, which is supporting these union drives, for example, Starbucks. So, yeah. That said, if you want to make America great again, form or join a union. Now, look, these facts are great for workers. And by the way, they're also great for the companies as well. For the long-term health of a company, it is good to have a workforce that can collectively bargain. It makes sense. It makes sense. That said, short-term greed has taken over the minds of CEOs. And so corporations would rather self-destruct than allow employees to form a union. Which is why Starbucks brought back Howard Schultz, who, by the way, was missing from this, hearing. And not only that, but, they've been using illegal union busting tactics, firing people illegally. Again, thanks to decisions by the NLRB, Starbucks has been found to have violated all sorts of different labor laws. And they might be held accountable for it. So that said, you have to understand overall that people like Markwayne Mullin, they are the mouthpieces of the elites. That's what they are. That's what you heard there. He doesn't care about your paycheck. No. He cares about his paycheck, his own. Again, if you're in a union, I just gave you the facts. You bring home more money. After dues, you get better benefits. That's it. That's the point. Does he want the reality to get out? No. Now, I also love the fact that when O'Brien said that he worked harder than Senator Mullin. Again, that's a fact. Congress is in session for only half the year. And when they are working, guess who does most of the work? The staffers. Look, we know that a lot of these congressmen don't even write their own bills. A lot of them get sent pre-written bills from organizations like ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, which is essentially a corporate lobbying group. So they'll send people like Mullin bills, pre-written, that will essentially remove regulations, right? They'll remove regulations, or they'll be against wage increases, or some sort of, anti-labor legislation. Oh, and also will lower corporate taxes. That's one thing Republicans, once again, are trying to do. Lower corporate taxes. And guess what? That's when they're in Congress. When they're not in Congress, when they're not in session, what are they doing? Oh, right. They're out fundraising from corporate donors at their fancy resorts, retreats, and holding $2,500 a plate dinners. Are average people getting a seat at that table? No. The only way the average people can actually get a seat at any table is by being in a union. Markwayne Mullin is disingenuous trash. And it's not just him. It's all of these corporate hack politicians who do not fight for the people. Okay. I'm going to have to wait for the Kansas Republican rainbow story. Because that's nuts. That'll be tomorrow. It'll be fun. Trust me. There's another train derailment today, too. I'm not surprised. Okay. So, let's read some super chats before we head out. Let's see. Let's go to YouTube here. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the gifted gifted Waldorf Nation membership. I don't know why I keep saying the tiers. I'm not talking about Twitch yet. Okay. Jonathan Leiter, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Appreciate that. Vitengale, member for 17 months, says, like number 72, click like to stand for trans people. Yes! Yes! Absolutely.
We have to keep our country gay.
All right. Gabby Mathis, thank you for another gifted membership. Michael Norrish, thank you for the very kind $5. With Elon, all I can think about is the Lucky Charms assassin from Austin Powers. How great would that be? I haven't I don't remember that. I'll have to look that up later. Virginia Thomas, aka Ice Dragon. I'm talking too fast today. All right. It says Mullen was about to catch those hands.
Yes!
Love it. Love it. It's yes. That sound is yes. It's a very enthusiastic yes. And it was from a Republican that was very, very excited about a local position. One of the best, horrible, worst speeches ever. It was fantastic. I love it. And I forget his name. I'll have to look that up. It's the Randy Gonzalez video. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Twitch here. Nothing here, Twitch. But thank you for watching. Facebook, again, thank you for watching. Facebook audience, love you all. All right. With that, have a great day. And again, trust me, you'll love the rainbow story. You're gonna love it. But you have to wait for tomorrow. You have to tune in 4 p.m. Eastern right here. Talk about a tease. And it'll be good. It'll be worth it. All right. Love you all. Yeah, have a great night. And remember, change begins with you.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Sexual anarchy.
These people open the Plato police.
Jewish space lasers.
Woke mob.
My.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
USA. USA. USA.